on Tuesday. My question, Deputy Speaker, is directed to the Prime Minister, and it's in relation to the government's policy on the special economic zones. Now, given that these matters go beyond the sort of limited grasp that the Minister for International Trade and Investments has shown when questioned by my fellow colleagues, and given that they raise wider and more serious national importance of questions of law, governance, public finance, investment policy, and fairness, I believe my questions are more properly directed to the Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, after reviewing the Special Economic Zone Authority Act of 2019 that established the SEZ Authority, and after reviewing its website and its recently launched Special Economic Zone Foundation Policy of 2015 to 2032, I accept that in principle the government says that it wants more investment, more growth, more exports, and more jobs. That sounds attractive, but the real question is this: does this framework actually achieve these objectives? Or does it instead expose Papua New Guinea to greater legal uncertainty, fiscal risk, governance failure, policy confusion, and reputational damage in the eyes of serious investors? Mr. Speaker, we have heard this story before. The PMIZ in Madang, promoted then by the Marape government in 2004, was sold as a transformational project. In 2019, the O'Neill government secured $95 million US or 430 million concessional loan for the China Exim Bank. Was taken in phase one for a 20-year loan and a 2% interest. In simple terms, the previous governments promised big, borrowed big, and delivered nothing of lasting economic value. What do we have to show for it? A grand PMZ entrance gate, a gravel road slowly being reclaimed by vegetation and birds enjoying vacant blocks on kunai grass and coconut trees. That experience as alone has shown or has taught this government that SEZs do not succeed merely because they are announced in law or dressed up in policy. Minister has now rebranded the entire failed policy of PMIZ and the super SEZ structure. PNG's own experience and research from around the globe has shown that SEZs only succeed where it is clear law.
We have a point of order. Minister for Culture and Tourism.
The Speaker, Prime Minister has given every minister a responsibility as minister for each of the portfolios they all. That question should be directed to the minister responsible, as he is fully versed with the SEZ policies in the country. Thank you.
Honorable Minister for Culture and Tourism, your point of order is in order, but the Chair have made this clear earlier that it is up to the individual members who choose to ask, and if he wants to ask to the Prime Minister, who is the chairman of the NEC, and if it at the discretion of every member to ask that question. So the honorable member, I think he had made it clear that he wished to ask that to the Prime Minister in the opening of his question. So I'll allow him to continue to receive that. But what you have said, it's a matter to all members. There's ministers responsible for, are responsible on duties. Please ask the minister so they can give you the questions they have. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. So yet the current framework raises serious concerns. First, the policy pushes SEZ authority well beyond the role of the normal regulator. It contemplates that SEZ authority becomes self-funding, commercially active, and even investing through a subsidiary on the official state nominee as in SEZ projects. That means that the same body could regulate, approve, invest in, and financially benefit from the very projects it is supposed to independently oversee. Mr. Speaker, that is not a clean government model. That is a conflict of interest dressed up in innovation. Second, the policy itself admits that the framework is only a starting point and that is being built.
Honorable Member, Minister for International Trade.
It is normal all over the world for SEZ authorities to also set up SEZs as government-owned and government-run SEZs. Prime example, in Leh you have an SEZ there. Malahan, Who owns it and who runs it? The government. That's quite common throughout the world.
Honorable Minister.
So it's not something new.
Honorable Minister, if you'd like to use the point of order to reply to the question, I will not allow for that. So allow the member for Madang make your statement short and allow for the PM.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I'm just coming to the end of my statement and to, sorry, to the questions. Okay, that raises an obvious question that if this is only a starting point, why is it being sold as a finished product? Third, the policy proposes major new legal architecture on top of the 2019 Act, including a One-Stop Shop Service Act and an SEZ Land Lease Act. So if the 2019 Act was meant to be complete national framework, why is the government now proposing new laws to patch it up, prop it up, or repair it? Fourth, the policy goes even further by proposing a 24-hour visa approvals, 24-hour company registration decisions, and even permanent residency incentives for foreign SE investors, while ordinary Papua New Guinea businesses continue to struggle with delays, red tape, and neglect. Mr. Speaker, for foreign investors, it is a one-stop shop. For local business, it means a full obstacle course. That is not reform. That is preferential treatment. Fifth, the framework is already showing signs of fragmentation. Manus is separately regulated under its own law, which undermines the claim that this is a one coherent national SEZ framework. Section 13 of the Act states, the authority shall appoint a certified public accountant to audit its books, and the CEO shall publish those audited books on its website. After almost 6 years, there is yet to be any published financial reports on its own website. How can an investor take serious a government authority that can't follow its own laws? Why should Parliament and this country trust it when even larger and more powerful SEZ superstructure? Mr. Speaker, there are deeper contradictions in the heart of this policy. Any serious investor first asks one basic question: how does the country treat the business it already has? How does this government treat companies that have already been here for decades, and in some cases, century, employing Papua New Guineans, paying taxes that contribute to politicians' pay, the funding of schools, hospitals, roads, and our national budget?
Honourable Member, I made it earlier that you have taken up much of the time on the question, so can you put your question?
Yes, Deputy Speaker. I'll go straight to the primary question. My primary question to the Prime Minister is, how does the Prime Minister reconcile the fact that while his Minister for International Trade and Investment is overseas courting so-called investors with promise of 15-year tax holidays, privileged treatment, and investment paradise, the loyal PNG business community and ordinary mums and dads who have invested their lives in this country are left carrying the full tax burden, poor services, regulatory delay, and ongoing cost of keeping this country going? Supplementary question: what assurance can the Prime Minister give to long-established businesses already operating in Papua New Guinea that they will not be commercially disadvantaged by massive tax exemptions, fast-tracked approvals, and special privileges being offered to newly arriving investors who have made no historic contribution to this country? Where is the fairness in that, and what message does it send to every business that have kept this country alive? Mr. Speaker, why is the government rolling out the red carpet abroad while pulling the rug out from under the businesses at home? Mr. Speaker, the more one looks at the SEZ policy, the less it resembles a serious investment framework, and the more it resembles a glossy brochure trying to sell certainty where none exist. Thank you.
The Honourable Prime Minister.
All right, thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Thank you, Member of Medang. Let me ask him this series of important questions. Noted our time is almost half off. I'll maybe ask him to finish questions properly in writing, or if not, my office will pick up his questions through the handset, and we will accord him a proper response. But in summary, let me be succinct on the questions he's raised. Since 2019, when we arrived as government, our principal interest was to grow the economy to a 200 billion Kina economy at the earliest. On record, and I say thank you to all faithful Papuan businesses in our country. This SEZ policy is not to displace them, rather to assist them grow, empower them, and work with them. The economy, existing PNG businesses lived under 2018 was a 79 billion Kina economy. The economy is like size of the garden, in simple layman's term. If the garden is big, then the father and mother picks from a bigger, well-resourced garden to feed the family at each meal. Economy is like the garden. The budget is like the plate of a meal that is served to the family. In 2019, we realized the economy size was smaller that cannot sustain a mouth or people over 10 million in PNG. So we came in with a clear policy and series of policies to making sure that we grew the economy at the earliest. Today, as I speak, with SEZ not fully developed, but as part of the stimulant to attract investments, the economy has been growing from a 79 billion Kina economy in 2019. Today, we're straddling past 130 billion Kina economy. But much more work remains, and I do acknowledge the member for Medang's reference to PMIZ in Medang that is right now straddling or lying in idle. That's a case in point to remind us that if we do things, we must do things properly. And so that's a good reminder. But I want to ask him respectfully, let's not kill an intention that means well for PNG businesses as well as new foreign direct investments in our country. Fact remains that our systems are too cumbersome, too layered, to go to IPA or anything, and a foreign investment that is coming to run around to get the regulatory process ticked off. We sometimes have too many red tapes that stops people at the gate and not bring them in. So the SEZ authority was meant to be a one-stop shop. And I want to commend Minister Marape when he came in and picked over from where earlier ministers were doing. He came in with a clarity of vision. Let's have a one-stop structure instead of too many laws that allows for too many structures in our country in all special economic zones. Our intention was simple. Every province should have a special economic zone. Now, the concept of special economic zone is not new to our country or also new externally. I give you one example. Manila in Philippines. Manila has more than 40 SEZ, and I may be wrong, please, someone confirm with the researchers as you see through. Manila city alone has over 40 special SEZ in the city itself, at Metro Manila. But the entire country of Philippines, Philippines is sized at 300,000 square kilometers of land. Papua New Guinea is sized at 462,840 square kilometers of land. Philippines is two-thirds the size of PNG. Yet the entire nation of Philippines has over 400 special economic zones. Incentives given. So the idea of special economic zone is simple. In a one-stop, one-gate funding, the investors come in through this, the regulatory process assisted, instead of going over many offices that sometimes, and all of us are experienced in knowing the due process. I give you one example. Governor Baird, for instance, and that may be one of the reasons why he left his government was simply because we were playing around with the investor. He sought to bring in to invest in agriculture, creating over 50,000 jobs in a place no one would have gone to that part of the world. I know that part of the world better because my wife's from that place. He brought in an investor who wanted to come in and harvest sago and do oil palm and everything else, but we were giving him a runaround, and his people a runaround. So if we get this SEZ concept right, we should be attracting investments that come in, not to displace the local industries, but to pick them up and work with them and incubate growth. This country needs over 1 million jobs right now. Over 1 million jobs right now. How do we create 1 million jobs? Mining and petroleum, I give you another example. PNG LNG came in 2008 and 2009. We deliver PNG LNG. In the construction phase, over 10,000 people came in and out and worked. But in operation phase right now, they have less than 1,000 in the operation phase, both upstream and downstream. And so SEZ, deep in the heart and soul of SEZ was the intention to bring in new businesses into our country. The thing we have in PNG, we got excess land, we got a diversified resource base, not just mining and petroleum. We got agriculture of all types, forestry in a downstream processed manner, fisheries in a downstream processed manner. And government, to complement SEZ policy, has key policies already worked upon in the respective sector. I give commendations to the Minister of Fisheries. He is now instructed that all fish caught in our waters must not leave our seas on high sea. They must be brought back into country for us to verify as PNG caught fish, know exactly how much it is, and eventually funnel in time. Medang PMIZ is an area we're looking at, Manus and others. Eventually funnel into our current fish factories, processing facilities we have in our country. Subject to, of course, if we had good power available right away. So the intention of SEZ is simple. Every resources that we produce in our country, in the first instance, must be processed here. Fisheries, forestry, agriculture, etc., etc. So the intention is good. I want to ask respectfully to the very learned member for Medang, let us not kill the goose before it lays the egg. It's intended to, as a goose, the SEZ is as a goose to lay more eggs. And the legs that is laid is to proliferate growth. We already in our country, Mr. Speaker, Deputy Speaker, Lear is an SEZ, camouflage in a SML. PNG LNG is an SEZ, camouflage in a gas agreement. They receive incentives. Lear, for instance, today, and we have asked IRC to check the requirements to pay corporate tax, and IRC is working through that process. But Lear, under Lear agreement, do not pay sufficient corporate tax since 1997. But we cannot discount the fact Lear is also employing over 3,000 Papua New Guineans. Lear is spinning GST that they purchase in country. So in sometimes you win some, you lose some. So we already have the concept of SEZ package in the mining and petroleum sectors we have already in country. Now we want to domesticate SEZ in a proper manner, incubate economic activities that is not found in country. If there are other existing business already in country, they are 100% welcome. They are 100%. This is not exclusive foreign investors. And next week, Monday, I'm visiting NASFAN to thank them for announcing a 13% growth in terms of the earnings last year. I'm going to NASFAN's office, and I'm letting the cat out of the bag. My conversation with NASFAN would be simple. Don't be a passive investor. Your country is growing. Why don't you, with sufficient liquidity you have in your accounts, go into areas of special economic zone, invest, so that you also invest in certain areas. So I'll just be having a word with them to encourage our super funds to also think in partnering provincial governments, partnering local investors to also ask for a special economic zone incentive. SEZ is simple, simply put, to summarize. We got land, we got resource, we got people.
Honourable Prime Minister, we have a point of order. Honourable Member for Sinasina Yangumul.
I appreciate the line of answers that the Prime Minister has been giving to the question from member for Medang, but I want to caution, we've got to be careful how we approach existing performing institutions. We have to look at their statutory mandates. Superannuation funds are established specifically for the purposes of, and their primary mandate, according to the enabling legislation, is to conserve. The word conserve is used, not to go out there and invest aggressively, but to sustain, maintain the value that you have. That's what they do. They cannot go and invest aggressively like any other ordinary investors because...
Honourable Member for Sinasina Yangumul, sorry, I interrupt your point of order. You seems to be making a statement and debating the answer.
Well, it's out of order to say you're going to ask them to go and invite. That's all. It's completely
not
out of order.
You already know that it is out of order, and you just want me to make that point, so I'll allow the Prime Minister to.
All right, the Prime Minister has no right to direct NASFAN or Namban Super. And I don't need to be a lawyer to understand this mandate they have. But we will propose to them, you have sufficient liquidity. There are investment opportunities in our country. Maximize, and for instance, agriculture, land available. Why are you remaining passive investors? You could be aggressive investors, partnering with provincial governments, whether in Simbu limestone or in Sipik agriculture or other places. So we just, and we understand my boundary clearly. I don't need to be told where my boundaries are, but it is not offensive to sit down. I'm thanking them, and I'm just offering them recommendations, up to them, up to the board. But coming back, SEZ simply means, and I can't consume much time. We got land, we got people, we got resource, and government's giving incentives. Is there anyone out there? We're trying to combine this, land, people, resource. We give incentives, minimum 15-year tax holiday. And someone will argue with me, someone in our own treasury argued with me. Why are you giving tax incentive to the Kido cement there? And I asked him, are you collecting tax right now in that part of our country? Are you collecting tax right now, Mr. Treasury guy? You're not collecting any tax right now in a vacuum. But if we give tax incentive for 10, 15 years, they employ Papua New Guineans, they construct jobs in a place that no one wants to go today, and beyond 15 years, you collect the tax you want to collect. If we had made this argument and shut down PNG LNG in 2008, today the revenue we collect from PNG LNG would not have been collected. So I put to all of us, Albert Einstein once said, doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results is insanity. SEZ is trying to cut the bureaucratic red tape from the insanity that has permeated this country over many, many years, combining locations in our country that no one thinks people can invest, combining people there, combining incentives we give, attaching to a local or international investor. To our local investors in our country, don't sit back and hold back. Incentives are available to you as much as to the foreign investors. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
One member for Bulolo.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. My very, very short and sharp question, again, goes to our Prime Minister. I think I have asked this question before, but our people continue to ask the update of the SNT, or State Negotiation Team, on the update on WAFI, and perhaps maybe PNG, Papua and LNG too. So, like, for too many talks have been going on the corridors of Waigani and around the country on the kind of a snail pace that we are facing with the SNT. We understand that I think Sambla will exploration license by expire this year. Maybe we can learn from Oktedi, our local 100% owned mining company. Sambla advice we can kisem lo how will operate na. You can talk lo future lo this country. After you may look at around to us to this merry-go-round, I think we need to come clear to the public on the update on WAFI Golpo. Position lo State Negotiation Team na lo government lo one kind outcome, best outcome we may work na one time by me achieve this la. I'm that's all. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker.
The Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, me like talk thank you, Member Blong, you me long, Bulolo ask him question. If my ear is correct, I would have heard he asked also on Papua LNG, and so I want to bridge the two key projects together by giving assurance to the people, the country, that this government is not delaying these two projects, contrary to what many would say. Our government is not delaying these two projects. From our front, our policy direction is clear. We want to win 55% total take for Papua New Guinea. So it's up to the investors. State negotiating team has one clear mandate from the, and there is no new ask. We are not asking over and above the laws of our country. For instance, in the Mining Act, it says 30%. Equity, we must exercise our right. In the Petroleum Act, it says 22.5% take for the state. And then the royalties, and the levies and the basic tax that our country has been charging since we've been a mining and petroleum country. So we plan to ask him, nubla something law, but with a clearer, within the provisions of existing mining and petroleum and gas acts we have, the laws that governs our country, we ask to win about 55% take for our country. But relating to Papua LNG, agreement was signed already in 2019, before this government came, April 12, 2019. So nothing has stopped. Even the review we asked was agreed early on, and I thank the Honorable Member for Senior Yongumuk. He won additional 5. Outside of the agreed agreement, the 5 that he won, 5 items that he won, did not encroach upon the major gist of the gas agreement signed. So the gas agreement has been standing from 2019 up to 2026. So Total is must tell us exactly what they've done with the gas agreement that has been standing up till today. Whilst PNG government is blamed, and we engaging in final round of conversations with Total. So they have had 5 or 6 years to deliver FID. Of course, COVID-19 came in between, but 5 or 6 years. The manner in which they tendered, the first tender, the second tender, it's not within the control of PNG government to go out on tender. It's a project manager's business to tender, to secure an FID, and to progress the project. So we are negotiating with them. They've come back to us asking for some incentive. I want to indicate to this country, it will not be a free incentive. James Marape don't give free incentive. If I was in government in 2018 or 19, it will be a completely different agreement. But it is what it is. We accept the agreement and give commendations to the previous government. The agreement was signed. Within this agreement, we expect them to deliver FID. No FID has been delivered up till today. So we're going through our final round of conversation. The licenses are running. State will respect the license requirements. They have interest in Papua LNG under petroleum retention license. That petroleum retention license is running its course. I have a letter prepared for the petroleum minister to pass to Total to do what they have to do without asking so much from the state. They have a gas agreement that they must live by, and that gas agreement separates how state and the project relates. And we will go by the gas agreement signed in 2019. In Wafi Golpu too, they relate to the project and to the country through an exploration license that is running. So these 2 licenses has a sunset to it. They're running their course as I speak. And I want to conclude by saying to the people of Wafi Golpu, to the people of Papua, this government, even before FID was announced, we put down funding for business development grant, we put down funding for infrastructure development grant, to show we are serious about these projects and to get our people being worked upon and prepared. So I call upon those investors. I call upon those investors in these 2 major projects. Your license statutory requirements are running as we speak. Your petroleum retention license and your exploration license. This country cannot keep on waiting and waiting and waiting. And I want to say to my people, right across this country, when I sat down an operating mine, Pogra, the opposite said this country will be a banana republic. This country will fail. And I want to give you some statistics, Mr. Deputy Speaker. In 2018, budget of this country was 14 billion. Why do I make reference to 2018? It's not just to remind that the former member of Yalu Pange was heading the government at that time. No, far from it. I want to remind us that Pogra was in full operation. Pogra was in full operation. PNG LNG was running. Papua LNG was not around. Wafi Golpu was not around. Our budget was 14 billion in 2018. Last year we ticked off at 25, I beg your pardon, not budget, but revenue. Revenue for the country was 14 billion in 2018. Last year, even without Papua LNG, even without Wafi Golpur, you think this country will die? Last year, 25 billion kina budget. So for those who think that Wafi and Papua holds the magic pill to this country, even without Wafi and Papua, we collected 25 billion kina budget last year. 2014 budget, of course, Papua was not there, Wafi was not there, but with POGRA still operating under SML1 terms, not a Marape Iparas, Marape Pangu government, new POGRA, but all POGRA budget revenue, 14 billion kina 2018. Mr. Deputy Speaker, GDP 2018, 79 billion kina GDP 2018. Even without Wafi Golpu and POGRA, today we've gone past 130 billion kina GDP. You ask me, where's the growth coming from? Even without a fully functional SEZ as yet, there's a spike in coffee, copra, cocoa, our focus on agriculture, our focus on construction sector of the economy, even without Papua and Wafi. I want to tell you, my people, Papua and Wafi don't hold magic key to our country. Sustainable element of our economy has the magic pill to our country. Today, our economy is 133 billion kina.
Point of order, Opposition Leader.
I thank the Prime Minister for elucidating the House on the economic performance of the government. But I think what's important, with empathy to the people of Bulolo, the Honourable Member simply wants to ask when they can expect Wafi Golpu to come online. If the Prime Minister could answer that question and give a clear date. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Honourable Opposition Leader, your point of order is in order. We'll allow the Prime Minister to give a reply.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Thank you for the reminder to the main issue in the question. We knew exactly sometimes the investors, you know, investors are here also to up the game in as far as profit for their shareholders are concerned. I'm here to up the game for return to my landowners and my country. And I'm not going to sell my country too cheaply. Our 2018 MOU signed by the two investors made this country lost 10% of what is prescribed by law. And only, I beg your pardon, only government MOU in 2018 signed that we will have only 20% stake in Wafi Golpu, and the investors will have 80% stake, on record.
Point of order.
Point of order. Mr. Speaker, you know, doesn't matter how the Prime Minister wants to color this to make himself feel good. When he came into government, he was the one who said that he will review these projects. And as a result, the investors got nervous. Admit that you have made mistakes. Admit that you have made mistakes. And 7 years, this country has wasted an opportunity to build these world-class projects. Now, Mr. Speaker, what he's referring to that is 20%. Government has an option to take 30% or 20%. Yes, I've decided to take 20% because we have to borrow money to pay for those shares. That's why, yes, of course, I did that. And I made it available to your governor in Marape to find money and buy it himself, Mr. Speaker. And that's why both of you frustrated the project. That's why the investor, Newcrest, did not want to invest. Just admit your faults, Mr. Speaker. You are just lying again. You wanted to think that you are going to get a better deal. You missed out on Papua. You missed out on Papua LNG. Now they're asking for $2.5 billion or $3 billion US dollars for Papua New Guinea to sacrifice. And now you've been caught out, Mr. Speaker. You've been caught out.
Hello. I've said hello to stop you from continuing your point of order. You always raising up a statement on the point of order, which I will not allow for. So, Honorable Prime Minister.
All right, maybe sort him now. Me like give him belly seal of country. To the people of Wafi Golpu, last 3 year, people are distributing infrastructure development grant called Marape provincial government, even without Newmont, na Harmony, agree long project agreement yet. Government giving money come to you, cleaning road, making pulling power, you try making work stop. That time people complete negotiation of these projects. Mr. Deputy Speaker, you long makam damlot as well. What do the Guantablo area you? It's a project lo wafi golpu and 40 years, past them like him 6-year license, na mito nogat. Not have 6-year license. Brother, let me talk to upside down, but you got only 20% of na mito. Big lo minus, how 20%? Law talk 30%, you must get 30%. So time all investors come. We've been going in and around the same conversation around 20%, 30%. One blood time me talking big man blong Newmont. I'm questioning him, state bagat ability to raise him 30%. Now me sarap me na me talk. You know got right to question him sovereign ability to raise him money. Former Prime Minister, midla defel or this land me lose him. I'm so prominent all investor like country sim like that. All investor sim big la. Now me lose him this last. Me lose him lo fight lo kisi molo wafi, kisi molo pogora, kisi molo Papua. And I want to advise the investors, don't make me stand here and fight too long. I start on a sitting mine. The country never go broke. I got statistics to say the country was growing the last 7 years I sat down a sitting mine. And just to give you some statistics, with Pogora now reoperating, our internal revenue in 2025 was with Pogora operating at important something so people harem good na me talk sa good so that plenty of German no can come up with something. Internal revenue with Pogora operating in 2018 from mining and petroleum tax 9.7 billion kina. With the whole Pogora. 2018, Brother Mr. Babsadi and was the government time. Now along 2025 internal revenue, one time Nubla Pogora, gold price in Oguanta Bedlo 5,000, but stablo gold price before. And the Nubla Pogora internal revenue, block country, 17 billion. Mining and petroleum taxes. My leaders, we don't have Harep signing Wafi Golpu or Papua LNG, so was me, South and benefit block country, come good. And to the investors who are doing these projects, your exploration license and your petroleum retention license timeline is running. Let's work to deliver FID at the earliest. Thank you, Thomas.